So how safe is it to fly over Somalia? I spoke to Sean Mendes, an aviation expert, and this was his response to that question.
I think the first thing we need to take with a very big pinch of salt is to understand what actually happened here. So far, we've only seen a statement from the Somaliland authorities that there was a near miss, but the airlines, or at least Emirates, has issued a statement saying that they have no record of their aircraft being involved in any incident. The reality is that there is a dispute over Somali airspace right now between Somaliland and Somalia Federal as to who has the authority to control the entire airspace. And we've seen over the last few months a handful of incidents where aircraft have been given conflicting instructions that potentially could have put them on collision courses. So certainly it is a matter of concern, but it's not something that passengers should really need to worry about.
If the statement by Somaliland was proven to have a measure of truth, what would be the possible repercussions if proven true?
Even if there was a situation where air traffic control did not notice that these aircraft were on a converging course, the TCAS located on board the aircraft would immediately tell the pilots. It would tell one pilot descend, it would tell one pilot to climb, and that would ensure that the aircraft do not actually come close enough to cause an accident. So there are multiple layers of redundancy built into the system. The last layer is TCAS, and all aircraft operating in this airspace mandatorily must have it.
So would there be a scenario where it was a close call, where Somaliland would be right in raising this alarm, but Emirates would also be right in saying, listen, as per our readings, there was no near collision?
Yes, there have been instances, especially in the last few months, since the dispute between Somalia and Somaliland over control of airspace has flared up, especially in the northern part of the FIR near Somaliland, have reported that they have had unauthorized instructions being given to them. There has been an advisory put out that if you receive any questionable instructions, you should confirm it via CPDLC with the controllers in Mogadishu, who are the ICAO nominated legal authority to control the airspace over both Somalia and the purported state of Somaliland.
From an aviation perspective, how do you, in a sense, safeguard the route, bearing in mind, the dispute could go on for as long as it goes on for?
I don't think it'll get quite to that point now, but I think it's important for both Somalia and Somaliland to realize that they may have political disputes, but the solution to political disputes is not to engage in actions which potentially put innocent passengers at risk while flying over their territory. And if you're mature enough to control your own airspace, you've got to be mature enough to resolve your disputes without involving innocent civilians.
What's the safety record of that particular airspace? Is that a number you would have access to?
Having worked extensively in Somalia, I'll tell you it is actually quite poor. I don't think a lot of that is dependent necessarily on air traffic control. I think air traffic control in Somalia has steadily improved over the last decade and a half that I've been dealing with it. But unfortunately, the authorities in Somalia and Somaliland simply do not control enough of their territory to be able to enforce safety regulations as comprehensively as more stable countries do.
Under what circumstances would ICAO take over an airspace?
It would be a very, very desperate circumstance before ICAO steps in. It would require United Nations resolution to do this, and obviously that would require a lot of political will from different parties. I do not believe that by any means that we are anywhere near that stage right now. Somaliland, in reality, is being tolerated by ICAO rather than being given a seat at the table by ICAO. Somaliland also has to tread carefully in this respect, because it's not likely that ICAO will step in. It's more likely that ICAO will sideline them.
There are airlines that use this route quite frequently, more frequently than others. What can they do? Can their voice be heard at a time like this?
I think the airlines have already spoken up in the various safety fora, and the initial step that has been taken is to encourage airlines to confirm any instructions given to them in Somali airspace via CPDLC with the controllers in Mogadishu, who are the official controllers of this area. I mean, I fly on that route probably once or twice a month myself, and I have absolutely no hesitation on getting on any flight through that airspace.
That's Sean Mendes, an aviation expert, but now